I'm Ray Scott, and welcome to Visual Art Photography. Many years ago, a good friend of mine showed me an image that he had taken. It was a print, and I was always really impressed with it because it showed a room in a factory. And the room was pretty much all in darkness, except for a slit of light that came through where a door had been opened just a crack. And you really couldn't see much in the room at all. It was just really a black and white image, if you know what I mean. Everything was in deep shadow. But the thing that got me about it the most was the feel and the mystery of the whole thing. So that kind of got me going just a few days ago in terms of making my own mysterious shadow image. And the journey was kind of interesting because I started with one thing in mind and it ended up with something completely different, which often happens with me in photography because I like to experiment a lot. Let's take a look at the journey. Let's take a look at mysterious shadows. So you don't need a factory to do this project. Any room in your home will do. It just so happens that I used my garage. I don't really know why. It was an absolute mess, but I'll take you through my journey in the garage as we look at mysterious shadows today.
So here we are, and what a mess we have. Winter is just over. I've got that spring garage that really needs a big cleanup, but I'm showing you this for a particular reason. Now, if you're using a different room in your house and it's just a basic room and there's not too much in it, that's fine. I wanted to show you that this is actually possible with a ton of stuff in the room because we're not going to see most of this or even any of it. It's our choice depending on the exposure that we choose, all right? So this is the basic garage. Now, what we want to do is we want to add mystery and we want to add shadows, which means we want to add a lot of black. And as we look at the first attempt, we see that I've turned the lights off and I've left the door open a little bit. It's not really what I want. You see the rags hanging there on the left in the other room and things like that. But you're getting a sense of what I'm trying to accomplish here. What I want is a crack of light coming into the garage. You've got a few items that are partially exposed, but everything that you saw in the back over here is gone. I mean, you can't see it. We've just changed the exposure. Now, what we've done, of course, is we've exposed for the light. We've exposed for that light on the left-hand side coming through so that everything else goes very dark. I've even put a pair of boots there just for effect. It's not really what I wanted, so we tried something else, and we see a broom hanging up, leaning up against the door, and things like that. And a few things on the right are partially exposed, but mostly everything is black. We have a window up there, and that's causing a bit of a problem because I really don't want that to be there. Now, I could have hung something over that window to cause it to go black, but I didn't. So what I did was I just removed the effect in Lightroom. Okay, I just did that. Changed the composition again slightly by putting a watering can on the floor for some shadow, things like that. So we're getting somewhere, but I don't like the fact that the door is so wide open. It's too wide open. Plus, my camera is over too much so that you can see into the other room, into the workshop room. So I'm going to move my camera a little bit to the left so that the angle's a little bit different. And we're going to get something that looks a little bit more like this. Now we're getting somewhere, all right? We're starting to get the mystery. We can't really see too much into the other room. The light, the shaft of light coming across is a little narrower, and it's just lighting up a little bit of the lawnmower there, and then everything else pretty much is in total darkness. All right, so we've set the table for a little bit of mystery. All right, change the tone, make it a little bit more blue. This is a long exposure. All right, this is, I think, what is it, in the 13-second range, I believe, 10 to 13-second range, which means that my hand, which I'm trying to hold still, is not really too still. But that's okay. It almost looks a little bit alien. And now the feeling is like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? There's someone in the other room. There's something going on there, and it's coming out into this room. The blue creates that cool nighttime feeling, and you've got all of the shadow up there as well. All right, we're getting somewhere. Mystery. Ooh, okay, now we've got total blackness. We've got a little bit of light around the door, and we've got a hand coming around. And the hand is positioned in not a very friendly way. It's almost a little bit sinister, isn't it? Almost like a claw. And again, mystery, because now it's coming out of the dark. And what is in the dark? And of course, you can do this any way you want. I'm just, I'm having my little science fiction fun with this, but it can be anything you want. But now it gets a little bit creepy, because now, what's going on here? There's a face coming out of the dark. And I've turned it to black and white. You can't see into the other room, and you just have this face coming out of the dark. But it was coming out a little bit too much for me, a little bit too clear. I wanted it to be a little bit more subtle, so I backed up just a little bit. By the way, I put my camera on the 10-second timer to grab this exposure. But anyway, the next shot, the last shot that you're going to see, I've moved a little closer to the door. I've angled my face a little bit differently, and I'm not quite as clear, and it just really adds a mystery. So now, and it's sinister, and it's a little creepy, and it's just the way that I was going with my particular mystery story, if you know what I mean. And yours will probably be completely different. But shadows, the mystery of shadows, how to build them, and what you can do with them. One possibility out of millions.
I think it almost got a little bit creepy there at the end, but anyway, I think you get the idea that I was trying to create some kind of mystery using deep shadows. And it's going to be great to see what you do with it. Listen, you know something? It could be anything. I think that I just scratched the surface of this project, so I'd really like to know how you make out with it. Until next time, I'm Ray Scott, reminding you, it's not what you see, it's how you see it. And I'll see you soon.